Imagine if you could get a heads up, years in advance about potentially developing dementia. It almost sounds like science fiction, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
But there's some genuinely intriguing research coming out.
Yeah, we're diving into a new study today. Comes from the Karolinska Institutet, published in Nature Medicine, looking at blood tests.
That's the one. They're looking at specific things in the blood biomarkers like TAT217, NFL, and GFAP.
Right.
And the big question is, can these markers act as like an early warning system for dementia?
So our mission basically is to unpack this. How good are these signals really? And, well, can we actually use them now?
Yeah.
Or what are the catches?
Exactly. What's the promise and what are the current limitations?
Okay, let's get into it. This study, it wasn't small, right?
No, not at all. Quite large, actually. Over 2,100 participants.
Wow.
All aged 60 or older and, crucially, cognitively healthy when they started.
And they followed them for quite a while.
10 years.
Yeah.
A full decade, which gives the findings some real weight.
So what was the sort of headline finding? What really jumped out?
Well, the accuracy was pretty striking. These biomarkers, they could predict who would eventually develop dementia within that decade.
Okay.
With up to 83% accuracy.
83%, that's huge, especially so early on.
It is. And remember, this is in people who had no cognitive symptoms at the start.
Right.
Julia Grande, the lead researcher, she sounded, quite optimistic about being able to reliably tell apart those who will develop dementia from those who likely won't.
That kind of predictability. I mean, even if it's not 100%, it opens up possibilities, doesn't it, for maybe doing something earlier?
Absolutely. It potentially gives this really long lead time, years before symptoms typically appear, which could be critical for future treatments or interventions. It changes the game, potentially.
So 83% accuracy, nearly 10 years out. That's powerful stuff, but it's not just about spotting the risk, is it? You mentioned distinguishing. Does it work the other way, too, like offering good news?
Yes, that's a really important flip side. Davide Vitrano, one of the senior authors, he pointed out that people with consistently low levels of these biomarkers seem to have a really minimal risk of developing dementia in the following 10 years.
So it could actually provide some reassurance.
Exactly. You can imagine the relief, the peace of mind that might offer some people. Knowing your risk based on this appears low for the next decade or so.
Yeah.
It could really lessen that background anxiety about cognitive decline that many people feel as they get older.
Okay, so potentially identifying higher risk early and reassuring lower risk individuals sounds incredibly promising, but there's always a but, isn't there? It can't be ready for like a routine checkup just yet.
No, definitely not. And that's a crucial point. While that 83% accuracy sounds great for prediction, the researchers were also very clear about what's called the positive predictive value. At this stage, it's actually quite low.
Okay, break that down. What does low positive predictive value mean for someone getting this test?
It means that even if your test comes back showing elevated levels of these biomarkers, it doesn't automatically or definitively mean you will develop dementia within 10 years. There's still a significant chance you won't.
I see. So a positive result isn't a diagnosis. Not even close, really.
Not at this stage, no. And that's why Vitrano specifically advises against using these tests as standalone screening tools for everybody right now.
Because a high result could cause a lot of anxiety without giving a clear answer about the future.
Precisely. It doesn't paint a clear enough picture yet for any given individual. We're still firmly in the research phase, not widespread clinical application.
Okay, that's a really vital distinction. So high levels don't equal a guaranteed outcome within that time frame.
Got it. So where does the research go next? What needs to happen to make this more, useful? Good question. They're looking at a few things. One finding was that combining biomarkers might be better than just looking at one.
Oh, like using a couple of them together.
Yes, specifically looking at p-tau217 combined with either NFL or GFAP seemed to boost the accuracy a bit.
Interesting. So refining the test itself. What else?
The other big piece, as Julia Grande highlighted, is validation. They need to see if these results hold up outside the controlled research environment.
You mean like in regular doctor's offices? With more diverse groups of people?
Exactly. Testing it in real-world community settings with typical older adults you'd find in primary care? Does it work as well there? That's a critical next step.
Makes perfect sense. You need to know it works reliably out in the wild, so to speak. And are they just looking at the blood results or other factors too?
No, they're definitely thinking broader. Grande mentioned ongoing work looking at combining these blood results with other information.
Like what kind of info?
Things like cognitive test scores, maybe genetic risk factors, lifestyle information, building a more complete picture.
Ah, okay. So the idea is that the blood test might be one part of a bigger toolkit for assessment.
That seems to be the hope, that combining these different strands of information could eventually lead to genuinely effective screening tools for the wider population. But again, that's still down the road.
Right. Okay, so let's try and boil this down for everyone listening. What are the key takeaways from this deep dive?
Okay, first point. These blood biomarkers show real significant promise, especially for early prediction.
Which could be huge for future treatments, maybe finding things earlier.
Exactly. And also, as we said, potentially offering that reassurance, that peace of mind for people with low levels. That's the big positive.
But the big but.
Yes. The second key takeaway. They are absolutely not ready for widespread general population screening right now.
Because that positive predictive value is too low, a high result isn't definitive.
Precisely. We can't use it as a standalone diagnostic or screening tool yet. It's just not reliable enough for that on its own.
Okay. And the third point, where things are heading.
The research is definitely moving forward. Scientists are actively working on refining these tests, looking at combinations, and exploring how to integrate them with other clinical data.
So the aim is still to develop better, more reliable tools for early detection in the future.
That's the goal, yes.
Yeah.
It's an active, ongoing process.
So wrapping this up, it feels like this study offers a really tantalizing glimpse of the future, doesn't it? A future where a simple blood test might give us years of advance warning about dementia risk.
It really does. It's exciting potential.
But we're not there yet. The potential for reassurance is real. The potential for earlier intervention is exciting. But the widespread application, that's still on the horizon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which brings us to a final thought, maybe something for listeners to ponder.
Okay.
Imagine we do get to that point. We have tests that can predict dementia risk years out. Even if not with perfect certainty, what does that actually mean for us, for individuals, for society?
Yeah. What are the implications, ethically, practically?
Right. How would knowing that information years in advance change how you approach your health, your life? What questions does that raise about proactive healthcare, about planning, about future research? Well, it's a lot to think about.